There we go. Hello, and welcome to Live with Jesse and Melva.
In case you're wondering, I'm Jesse and she's Melva.
And we might change that next week. Thank you so much for joining us. We are so excited. You know, each time we're excited. But I really like what we have to share. We're doing a series on a question that one person asked a little while ago. And the answer to the question is so complex, has so many layers. We decided to answer the question layer by layer. So the person who asked the question, we're calling her Veronica. Her husband's name is, we're calling him Vernon. We've been telling her story. And this is part 3. We talked about the safe place before, and we talked about reflection. And this time we're going to talk about her vision, which is her next step, the next layer that she's going to peel off. We're also going to share with you a tool that she used for her own personal growth and transformation. One thing that we want to emphasize is that everything that we're doing, like with our Live and Jesse and Melva that turns into a podcast, our Beatitudes that we do every day, the column that we write weekly, they're all ideas to support people to tap into their best self.
Right.
And we call the components of the best self hidden golden treasures. So we're going to share with you another way that Veronica tapped into a hidden treasure within. We're also, that supports her growth and transformation into more of her best self. We're also going to give you an opportunity to apply what Veronica did in her situation with Vernon. Then we're going to give you a preview of what we're going to cover next week. It's Veronica's next step. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to invite you to a personal consultation if you would like to have a jump start on doing what Veronica did. How's that sound, Mr. J?
Sounds great.
Okay. All right. So let's start off with Veronica's story and where she was. And that is the first layer was, the first layer started after she was in touch with how upset she was about Vernon's affairs, cheating over and over and over again. And she decided that she had to do something. She needed to give herself ultimate self-care. So her first step was to create a safe space that she could go within to think. Because when a person reacts when they're flooded with emotions and negative emotions, things get worse. So she has a safe place. And then we covered what she did in her safe place. One of the things that she did in her safe place was that she asked herself some real important questions. And before she asked the questions, she decided sorry about that. So in the reflective place, she asked herself the questions about what she could and could not change. And so she's focusing on what she can change. And so this third part that we're going to talk about is her decision about being proactive. And part of that decision was deciding on how she wanted to feel, because she didn't want to continue to feel upset. She didn't want to continue to feel helpless. She didn't want to continue to feel powerless. So she made a decision about that. And so now that she has made that decision about what she can and cannot change, and she's decided how she wants to feel, this is where the next step comes in, and that comes with another question. What does it look like? What does it look like to feel peaceful? Because it does have a presence about it, and it is a component of one's best self. What does it look like to feel hopeful? And then the third question for her, in terms of the feelings that she decided on for herself, what does it look like to feel powerful in a stressful situation when you are hurting? And so Veronica started on a quest to answer those questions. What does it feel like? What does feeling those three different ways look like? She came up with 5 different components, and we're going to go through them one by one. So the first layer is answering the question, what does feeling peaceful, hopeful, and powerful look like emotionally? What does that look like emotionally? So one way it looks like is how she manages her feelings, because her feelings are real. And we mentioned that last time. And they need to be honored. So managing the feelings include honoring that that's the way that she feels. There's a process that we use personally and that we have also introduced to our clients, couples that we work with. Sometimes it's one person in the relationship, sometimes it's both. And even though it looks kind of wacky, it is so powerful. And it's called the emotional freedom technique. In other words, tapping. That's the shortcut for it. But it's a part of energy psychology to help people to neutralize the intensity of negative feelings. So for Veronica, what that looks like is seeing herself in a situation of calming down those feelings while honoring them at the same time. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's wonderful, and it's something that most people don't even think about. They assume that if they are thinking or feeling a certain way, that that's the way it is, and there's nothing they can do to change that, which in fact, that is not the case.
Mm-hmm.
We do have options.
Yeah.
And so following the path that you just suggested is a way of helping people to understand that they are not trapped in their thoughts and feelings and emotions.
Mm-hmm. Right. Absolutely. And so many times people try to get rid of negative feelings or upsetting feelings. I know some people will say sometimes, I'll just get busy, so I don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
Well, the feelings are still there. They need to be honored and they need to be managed. So that's part of what it looks like emotionally for Veronica. The second layer, or the second step, is for Veronica to figure out how that looks mentally in terms of her thoughts. Because in the moments, she does not have the best thoughts about Vernon. And since she's hurting so much, and sometimes she's blaming herself, it's like, what could I have done that led to him doing this, not just once or twice, but over and over and over again? She gets to have a choice to think about it that way, or to think about, what is the opportunity? What can I learn from this? What can I learn from this about me? And what can I learn about Vernon? And what can I learn about our relationship? So it is looking at reality and looking at the growth possibilities of what's really going on. We call it, and I'm not good at playing cards. I used to be good at whist. That was a long time ago. But in terms of a metaphor of playing cards, when you're dealt a hand and it's not a good hand, you still have to play it if you're in the game. So thinking about what she can learn from what's going on is empowering, because she can gain a sense of peacefulness, hopefulness, and powerfulness from being clear about what the opportunities for growth are. So that's the mental part. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's great. And that's probably one of the last places where most people look to do any healing around, because it didn't seem to fit anywhere. Um, so dealing with yourself physically, I think it's wonderful and quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So mentally. And then we're going to go to physical.
Oh, see, I just jumped ahead.
You sure did. So go ahead, proceed. That's fine. What's the next step? It's fine.
No, I don't know where I'm going.
Okay, I'll go. So physically, it's real important for her to take care of herself. You know, a lot of times when people are hurting, they don't eat well, they don't sleep, they just don't take care of themselves. And so Veronica has an opportunity to figure out what her vision is of taking care of herself. And it's true that she is not sleeping very well because she's so upset. It's like they've been married for a long time, and this has been a pattern that she has put up with for a long time. So when she's upset, you know, there's a saying that two thoughts cannot occupy the same space in your mind or something like that. Okay, I messed up the other metaphor too, but you get the idea. So she needs to take a look at that. She needs to make sure that she is taking care of herself physically, because she's a person who she knows how to do yoga and she loves yoga, and so she's been really upset and she has not been doing her self-care. So taking care of herself physically is the third layer.
And the fourth layer is spirituality. How do you take care of yourself spiritually? Or do you think that maybe this is just something that happens, as opposed to you taking some very positive steps in taking care of your physical and your spiritual well-being? So
Yeah. And Veronica was a person who started her day with prayer and meditation, and sometimes reading scriptures and just meditating on getting focused. You know, I call it going in the world before going out into the world. So she had a practice of going within and getting herself, you know, people talk about getting all prayed up. So she would have that kind of practice before she started her day, not only with Vernon, but in every other area of her life, like with her family, at work, with her coworkers, and with her friends, and just with people in general, people that she would meet at the grocery store and running errands and that kind of thing. So she got herself. So what it looked like for her is going back to grounding herself in the energy of peacefulness. And from that place, she could tap into feeling hopeful, because in her reflection stage, she was in touch with more possibilities of how she could manage what she was dealing with. Because right now, it is not time yet for her to make a decision about what she's going to do. Right now, it's important for her to make a decision about how she's going to take care of herself and make a decision from that. So she has one more step to do after this one, and we'll talk about that next time, before she's ready to make that decision. And then the fifth layer, the fifth step in creating a vision for herself in terms of what does peacefulness, hopefulness, and powerfulness look like, is making sure that when she does respond to Vernon, because right now she told him that she really has to think this through, that she will not continue living in a circumstance like this. And before she talks about it more deeply with Vernon, it's going to be important for her to figure out and have a vision and a focus for how she's going to talk to him in a responsible versus a reactive way. And she can do that when she's taking care of herself more effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And there could be other layers, but these are the 5 that Veronica came up with for ultimate self-care while she's in her safe place, reflecting and getting focused, right?
Right.
So what happens after that? I mean, because now she's got these layers together, and this particular layer is so important. Having a vision is so important because you have to have a focus when you're going through any kind of stress. Otherwise, your thoughts and your being will be all over the place, and your reactive self will be in charge rather than your grown-up self. And your grown-up self has all the components of your best self that's trying to show up
Mm-hmm.
in as many ways as possible. And one thing that we love quotes. That's why we do the Beatitudes every day. We love quotes, and there are so many that support what it is that we're talking about. And our favorite one from today, for today, is from Iyanla Van Zandt. Hi, hey, Iyanla. We love Iyanla. And that is, she says, if you don't have a vision, you're going to be stuck in what you know. And what we know many times when we're stuck in negativity and upset, it really doesn't get us anywhere. And who wants to be stuck there forever? So if we don't have a way to break out of that, we're going to be stuck there.
Right.
And then she goes on to say, and the only thing you know is what you've already seen. The only thing that Veronica and even Vernon knows, but we're not talking about him yet. The only thing that Veronica knows is what she has seen, not only with Vernon, but also what she has seen in the past. So I don't know if what she's experiencing right now also has components of reliving some kind of trauma like this from her history, or from some trauma that she saw and witnessed that was very upsetting to her.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no peace inside. There was no hopefulness inside. There was no sense of power inside because she didn't know what to do. And she was watching somebody else in a situation like that, or she grew up in a family where somebody was cheating and she witnessed it. She didn't know what to do. The other person probably didn't know what to do either, who was cheated on. And if they did do something, it is possible that they didn't do it well. So Veronica has an opportunity to manage this well in a way that brings out her highest self.
For me, the question really is, when you're in a situation like this or similar to this, the question is, who's in charge? And if you simply allow things outside of yourself to be in charge of you, then that's the place where you can get stuck. And you're not going to move from that, and you'll probably spend a lot of your time in a lot of pain and misery and upset and so on, and you can't get out of that seemingly.
Right. And for now, the only thing that Veronica knows is what she's seen and experienced with Vernon in their relationship.
Right.
So that's why she needs a vision. She needs a new focus.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That is in alignment with what she can change.
Right.
Managing her feelings, managing how she thinks about it, and managing how she responds.
Right.
Yeah. So those are the 5 layers for Veronica. And she gave this a lot of thought. And we think that in terms of taking this process step by step, layer by layer, we're inviting you to think about that. So maybe in your relationship, maybe it's not betrayal in terms of affairs and what have you. Maybe it's betrayal in another kind of way. Because one of the complaints that we hear on an ongoing basis is about this whole issue of trust. And sometimes people will say, I can't trust my mate to do what they said they're going to do. And I know that over the years that we have heard from people who make the promises that they don't keep, that in the moment, their positive intention is to keep them. But they never get in touch with the fact that they don't know how, or they don't get in the touch in touch with the fact that they're such a people pleaser that they make so many promises with so many people that they can't keep up with them all, especially with the one that they love. Now, that's not the issue for Vernon. That's something totally different going on with Vernon. So he is not off the hook there. But what we're saying is, if you are dealing with any kind of stress or upset in your relationship, and you're open to doing the 3 steps that we have shared so far, we have some more: creating a safe place, being reflective, and then creating a vision for what it looks like, what you will look like as your best self navigating through it, then we invite you to sign up and schedule a complimentary consultation with us to help you to get a jump start on moving forward. So we're going to be doing them for a while. And because we really do want to support people to know that they have options, that they have choices, that they don't have to get stuck in the same pattern and the same routine over and over again that does not, number one, support their highest good, and number two, support them to get the results that they want. People want to repair the upset in their relationship. They want to repair the impact of the wounding that they experience from each other. Because when a person is hurting, they become hurtful. Veronica does not want to become hurtful because she is hurting with Vernon. He may or may not join her in the healing process. We don't know. That's further down the line as we peel off these layers with you. But if you would like to have a jump start, we would like to support you. And it's a complimentary consultation. You just go to jesseandmelva.com/contact, put your name in, your email address. It'll come directly to us. And then we'll get, and the link is also in the chat. So you can click on the link in the chat, or you can go to the website directly. But it's faster. It's faster if you just click on the link in the chat, and then you won't forget. Because I know that I can think about something and think, yeah, I want to do that, and then I start doing something else, and then I forget all about it. Do you do that?
Of course not.
That is so true. And I have a bridge over where to tell you. Okay, so Jesse, what have we covered this time?
Wow.
You want me to do it?
Yeah, because you're on a roll here.
Okay. So I tend to do that. So what did we cover? So we covered Veronica's story, part 3, in terms of her having a vision of what she will look like as her best self, being peaceful, being hopeful, and being powerful. And we also shared her tools for her own personal growth and transformation, the 5-layer step, 5 dimensions that she went through to come up with a statement. We invited you to take the same steps as this is something that you would like to do. All 5 work, because the first 4 prepare you for number 5. And even though you won't be implementing number 5 until a little ways down the road, you'll have the information and you'll be prepared for that. And then we invited you to have a complimentary consultation with you if that is something that you would like. And the link is in the chat. So even though the question that we're answering for several series on this is related to Veronica's question about what do you do when you've been betrayed, we're still taking your questions. So you can put questions into the chat. If you're in our Facebook group, you can put a question in the Facebook group. You can also put a question. Where else can they put a question? Brian, where else can they put a question? Brian's in the background. Where else can they put a question, Brian? You said in the chats. Oh, can email us at, where, Brian? mail@jesseandmelva.com. Thank you, Brian. So, any closing thoughts?
No, I just, as we've been doing this series, I've just been thinking about how very important this series is, because it's such a challenge for so many couples in relationships when they feel betrayed and cheated on and so forth. And so I hope that those of you who are listening and watching are getting as much out of here as we enjoy presenting it to you. Because we're saying to you, you do not have to live a miserable life because the person that you are committed to doesn't seem to be as committed to you. So keep watching, keep listening, and we have more good stuff to share with you in the future.
Yes, because whatever you're going through, the best part of you is trying to emerge.
Right.
And it's not like there are components of the best part of you. It's not like they're not already being expressed. It's not that. It means that there's more of you that wants to be expressed. There's more of you that does not want to live in pain. There's more of you that doesn't want to get stuck in doing the same thing over and over and over again that doesn't work. We learned a long time ago, personally and professionally, that conflict or any relationship situation is growth trying to happen. And I remember years ago when Oprah had her daily show, and she was talking about all the opportunities that she had for growth. And she said they were coming up so fast in terms of things that she had to deal with, that one day she prayed to God and said, God, can I be on vacation today? So just know that, sometimes you may be asking God the same question. And at the same time, give yourself the gift of embracing whatever is going on with you as an opportunity to grow more and more into your best self. You deserve to be your best self. You deserve to know what all those different qualities are. And we give some ideas in the Beatitudes. And so we're going to keep sharing. We want to keep supporting. And we want to thank you for joining us again for live with Jesse and Melva. And we're looking forward to connecting with you next time. Take care.
Watch Live with Jesse and Melva right here on Solivity TV every Sunday at 5:30 Eastern. Solivity Magazine brings you the best in inspiration on Solivity TV. Check out our new shows. Mark your calendars for Solivity Magazine shows by going to